Well, hello, welcome to episode 194 of the Confident Live Marketing Podcast. And in today's episode, I'm going to be sharing top live streaming tips for your business because many of us are live streaming for business purposes. You might be doing it for fun as well, or you might be just doing it for personal reasons. But in this episode, we're going to be focusing on business stuff. So welcome to the show. If you're watching live or watching the replay, let me know in the comments if you're watching the replay. Just put hashtag replay. And I would love to, know what you're up to. Let me know what you're focusing on with live streaming as we come up to the end of 2022. What have you learned this year? It's been, for me, quite a busy year, what's the word I'm looking for? A bit of a roller coaster year, things up and down. And I'm really looking forward to 2023 business-wise. And live streaming is going to continue to be a big part of what I do. So I'd love to know from you, is live streaming going to be a big part of what you're doing in 2023? And if so, what is that going to be? Let's see if we've got any comments coming through. No, you're all very shy, but hopefully you'll be joining us over the next few minutes as we get started with this. Well, let's get on with it right now. Hello, my name's Ian Anderson Gray, and in this episode of the Confident Live Marketing Show, we're talking about top live streaming tips for business. If you're live streaming for your business, how can you get the most out of it? That's what we're going to be talking about in today's show. Let's do it right now.
Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Helping you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video.
Optimize your mindset and communication and increase your confidence in front of the camera.
Get confident with the tech and gear.
And get confident with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Well, hello. Ian Anderson Gray here. This is episode 194 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. In today's episode, I'm going to be sharing some practical tips and advice on how you can live stream effectively for business. If you have your own business, I'd love you to let me know what it is that you do. What is your business and what are you wanting to get out of it? That's what we're going to be talking about today. I also want to let you know that on Thursday or next Friday, if you're listening to the podcast, I'm joined by the wonderful Doreen Morin Van Dam. She is a good friend of mine. We've not seen each other for absolutely ages, so I'm really looking forward to having a nice conversation with her. And we're talking about why organic social media is not dead. So many of us are having maybe some stresses and frustrations with organic social media. Well, Doreen is here to tell us not to worry. She's got some practical tips on how we can move forwards with that. So looking forward to that on Thursday or next Friday if you're listening to the podcast. And of course, if you haven't discovered the podcast before, you just need to go to iag.me/podcast and you can subscribe in your favorite podcasting app. And as we come towards the big 200, that would be really good if you could do that because we've got some exciting things coming up, particularly for episode 200, which will be happening in, I think, about February time. So, so a few more weeks to go before we do that. Anyway, welcome to the show. If you've just joined watching live, I can see we've got some live viewers. Let me know where in the world you're watching from and what your thoughts are on live streaming for business. So let's get stuck into this. What's the first thing that I want to talk about? Well, the first tip is really choosing the right platform. And by this, I don't mean the live streaming platform like StreamYard or Ecamm and all those kind of things. I mean, that's something you need to think about. But where are you broadcasting to? Now, we've got tools like StreamYard, Restream, Ecamm. They all do what we call multi-streaming. Now, multi-streaming allows you to broadcast to lots of different places all at the same time. And I'm doing that today. I'm broadcasting to Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, which is great. But it can make you a little bit lazy because what's really important here is that you nurture your audience. You focus on your audience and you interact with them. And if your audience are scattered all over the place, that is more difficult to manage. And so that's the only problem with multi-streaming. It's difficult to do well. And I'm not saying I do like an amazing job at this, but I've been doing this for quite a while. I would certainly not recommend multi-streaming right from the get-go. So where is your audience hanging out? Are they on LinkedIn primarily? Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? And then it's really a case of focusing on that one audience first. Now, if it's Instagram, that changes things a little bit because Instagram Live is a very different kettle of fish. What is a kettle of fish? I never know where that phrase comes from. But anyway, you know what I mean. Because Instagram so far has been mobile only. Now, that is changing. It is possible now, if you have been given access, you've been blessed with access to Instagram Live through desktop, you can start to do that. But it is a very different feeling. So if you're going to do a show like this, then I would probably recommend broadcasting live to another platform and then repurpose that content onto Instagram. And we'll talk about repurposing in a little bit. But you need to think about where is your audience and consider how big your audience is. And focus on them first. By all means, once you've done that, you can then start to think about multi-streaming later on to other platforms as well. The second one is planning, which is kind of the boring bit, but so important. I put together a big plan back in May 2019, my content plan and my strategy, and without that, I would not be continuing to live stream today. With that, it allowed me to know why I was doing it. So today, I know why I'm going live today. Even if I don't really want to, I might not be feeling in the mood. I know why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to connect with my audience, and I know who my audience is. So you need to know who your audience is and why you're doing it as well. The next one is to stand out. There are more and more people live streaming now, including business owners as well. So you need to make it professional and you need to stand out, but not just professional, because people don't always go for like the most professional look. They're looking to interact with a real human being. They're looking to find the human behind the business as well and putting that personality forwards. And this is particularly easy if you're a small business, and particularly if you're a personal brand like for me, I am my business. It's more difficult for corporates, but it's still possible to reach out behind your, in front of your corporate identity. Yes, make it professional, but you need to stand out and be real, be authentic as well. But you can have fun with this. You can have fun with the right equipment, getting a nice camera, getting nice lighting, fun lighting and background as well. So think about that. The next one is really important, particularly, well, it's not just for businesses. This is for everyone live streaming, but I see businesses doing a particularly poor job at this, and that is engaging with your audience. I've watched live streams from businesses, from brands that I really love, and I'm not going to name any names here, but I've watched live streams and I'm commenting. I'm really excited because this is my favorite brand, live streaming, and I'm talking to them and they're completely ignoring me. And so you need to look out for comments and you need to engage with your audience during your live stream. Not just that, ask them questions. This is something that I try and do in my live streams as well. Using calls to action. What at the end of your live stream, where do you want them to go? Because if you're a business, you are selling things. You are selling services or products. And so although the main aim of your live stream, it might not be to sell directly, but you at least need to let people know where they should be going next. What is the next stage in their interactions with you as well? And part of that might be, going back and engaging with them in the comments, and then you can reply to them in there, but you should also do that live on air as well. So encouraging interaction as well. Now, the issue here is if you're finding that you're not having that many people watching you live and you're struggling to even get that interaction in the first place, this is all down to promotion. And this is something that I've not done a very good job of recently. That is changing, as I've alluded to quite a few times on this show. For various reasons, just things have just been really busy, and I've just not had the time or I suppose the structures in place to do a good job of the next thing, which is pre-promoting your live streams before. Because yes, I've scheduled today's episode, but I've not sent it out on email or on social media, and those are really bad things. I'm being completely honest with you, but don't do what I do here. You need to let people know before the event, and also after the event. There's the post promotion as well, so let people know that they can watch the replay. So use social media, and it doesn't just have to be your main network. Try the other ones as well. So if you're focused primarily on LinkedIn, why not also share that on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and Instagram, for example, as well. So, but don't forget email marketing. That's really important. And that's something that I'm going to be doing a lot more next year. I've done a particularly poor job of my email this year, and I'm going to be doing much more next year. So that is that. Promotion, pre-promotion and post-promotion. Now, you also want to look at the analytics as well. So as well as doing that promotion and engaging with your audience, how on earth do you know afterwards whether it's been a success? Now, you can look at the viewer engagement. You can look at the viewer engagement. You can look at the number of people watching you live. Those are some ideas as well. But also you can look at how many people are going towards your call to action. Maybe you've got a web page and you want to see how many people have actually clicked through to that as well. So don't be afraid of analytics. It can be a little bit tricky to find out more information about this, particularly if you're multi-streaming. But Facebook, LinkedIn, the main platforms, and YouTube, they do give you analytics. You can see how many people watched throughout your live stream. You know, was it did they just watch for 10 seconds, or do they watch for the whole thing? Now, don't be worried if people only watch for like 5 or 10 seconds, because that is not obviously you want them to watch for longer. But the fact that they clicked and they saw you for 10 seconds, it's reminding them of you. And they might not have been in the situation to be able to watch you live. They might have been washing the dishes, driving the car. Hopefully they weren't clicking on it while they were driving the car. But you get the idea. So do look at the analytics. So Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, they all give you those analytics. And if you're using a tool like Restream, they have really powerful analytics baked into that. So do check that out, tracking the viewership, the engagement, the conversations, the conversions as well. Katie Simpson is in the house watching on Facebook. Thank you so much, Katie, for joining me this morning. How are you doing? And I know it's in the run up to Christmas, things start to get a little bit busy. If you're listening to the podcast, I know it's January, but I record this is going live in December, mid-December. I'd love to know from you, Katie, what are some of your strategies for 2023 for your business? How are you going to be using live streaming next year in 2023? Because I love hearing about that and seeing what people are doing. So far we've talked about using being able to let's go back to the beginning. Using streaming to the right platform. Where is your audience? Planning, making it professional, and making sure that you're standing out. Engaging with your audience as well. Promoting your live stream before and, of course, after as well. And then finally, so far at least, looking at the analytics as well and looking at the data. It's something that so many businesses don't do. And I have to admit, I've not done a great job recently because of many things that have been happening, but it is something that I'm going to be doing a lot more as well. And of course, with the analytics, that allows you to improve in the future. It allows you to make changes. So if you're finding that a lot of people are dropping off in the first 5 minutes, maybe you just need to ramp things up and move on to the main section because you might be waffling on a little bit more. And you can reach out to your audience and find out, if they've got any recommendations on what you would like, what they would like you to do. So let's look at the comments. We've got Alec Dorling in the house. Alec, it's great to see you. We met up. Alec and I met up relatively recently in Manchester. So it's great to meet people in real life. In fact, Katie and I met earlier this year in real life and actually just last month. So great to see you, Alec. He says, I'm not sure I want to be receiving too much email promotion in my inbox. However, I think social media platform promotions are welcome for upcoming shows. That's a really interesting point. And I think what I would say here is, Alec, I think we need to give our audiences control over what they see. So with email, I plan on sending a lot more emails out, but I will also give people the ability to opt in, opt out, or whatever from certain emails. So I will be sending an email out before every show that I do. It's 2 times a week. But if people aren't interested in that, then they can opt out of that. I think it's just giving people the types of reminders that they want. For example, like I really like to be contacted by email or sometimes by Facebook Messenger. I don't really want to be, I find it difficult if people contact me from other ways because then I get confused about where they contacted me. So everyone has their preferred method of communication. So I think we need to be aware of that. So yeah, I don't know what your thoughts on that are, Alec. Katie says, should you be looking at the analytics into your weekly workflow and how long should you spend doing it? Great question. Yeah, so it should at least be monthly, but I would ideally do it weekly. So one thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have a meeting with my team every month. So this will be with Tonya, my assistant, and we're going to look at the analytics of the last 4 or 6 shows. So it's not just enough to record the data, but it's also really important to look at the data. And I think with somebody to get an objective look at this. So absolutely, it needs to go into ideally into a weekly review, looking at the data and then learning from it as well. We could do a whole show on this, and maybe I will, because analytics is important. And Katie also asks, should you do it monthly? I think what I would recommend is start monthly, and then ideally you then do it weekly. But what you don't want here is to overwhelm yourself. In an ideal world, you do it weekly, but just do what you can, because most businesses are not looking at their analytics. A lot of businesses have things like Google Analytics and all the social networks and email platforms have analytics, but do you look at them? That's the main thing to think about. Alex says, email is generally text-based and doesn't engage as much as a short video promotion. Yes. True. True. But I think we're all different. So, for example, although I'm a big advocate, obviously, of video, personally, I prefer text content. So I prefer to be reminded about something just with text. So I would prefer to receive an email about it or a quick post on Facebook. I don't really want to have to watch a short video promotion personally, but I know that although I'm not alone on that, I know that many people prefer visual content. So I think it's really a case of producing a lot of different types. So emails, visual content, absolutely. And I will be doing a lot of that. Instagram Reels, Facebook videos, all that kind of stuff. Really important. But I think it's just a case of diversifying that. Okay, so we talked about analyzing it and then improving based on what you see in the data and improving there. The next thing is when it comes to business, obviously we've got to focus on giving value. So today I'm hoping that I am giving you who are watching or listening some value. Otherwise, kind of what's the point in you watching or listening to this? I mean, you might like me, and that's important, but I do need to be able to giving you value and really being able to be a catalyst for the transformation in your business life and on your personal life. So giving value is really important, but don't avoid being entertaining as well. And I think this is important when it comes to video content, particularly. You need to avoid boring content. Now, boring is a very subjective word because what I'm doing today is not going to be interesting to some of my nephews who are like 10 or 11. They're going to be wanting to watch, say, like a YouTube video on Minecraft. A live show about marketing is not going to be interesting to them, but for a perfect audience, it needs to be exciting, interesting, valuable content. And you need to prepare for that. You don't just go live without knowing what you're going to talk about. You need to prepare for that. So I think that's really important, and being yourself as well. I was talking to Alec about this, about that your audience have different preferences, I suppose. So some of them, like me, will like blog posts and text posts, but some of them will like videos as well. Repurpose your live shows into other types of content so that you can reach other people or reach the same audience, but in multiple ways. So repurposing your live show into a blog post, you can transcribe it using a tool like Otter or Descript or Rev. And then what you can do is then summarize it. There's loads of summarizing tools. There's even artificial intelligence tools out there that will allow you to summarize it or turn it into a blog post. Either do that yourself or hire somebody to do that. You could repurpose it into Twitter threads, which is something that I really want to do. I really like Twitter threads, into podcasts, into social media images, into little videos as well. That's really important. Next thing is to do case studies or interviews with successful businesses. And this is a really important thing because it allows your audience to not just interact with you, but interact with other businesses and to be inspired. And you can grow their brand as well as you are growing your own brand. They can help you as well, and you can share your audience. So don't just do things on your own. Collaborate with other people. And that's one of the reasons why I have guests on my show. I haven't had that many guests recently, but we've got Doreen coming on to the next episode, and also next year I've got some really cool guests lined up. So do think about that. Alex says, what is the role of pattern interrupts in live videos? I'm not entirely sure what you mean, Alex. So maybe if you could clarify your question there. Not entirely sure what you mean. It's probably me being slow today. Probably. What's the next one? I think it's being aware of the future. So this is something I'm always aware of because live streaming marketing changes. Yes, the basics stay the same, but we've just had GPT, which is this AI, artificial intelligence chat. I don't even know what to call it. And I talked about this last episode. And this is a game changer in the marketing world. And it's very, very exciting. With live streaming, things are changing all the time. So you do need to be not necessarily on the cutting edge, but you need to be aware of what is changing and what's happening in the world of live streaming. And learning how you can integrate that into your overall marketing strategy. Because live streaming is not your marketing strategy. It should not be the entirety of your marketing strategy. It is part of it, and you should have goals, and you should be using it to help move your business forward, but it should be part of your overall strategy, and you should be using other things as well, and to use it to reach your business goals. I think it's really important. Katie is being very helpful. Thank you. Sometimes I find when I'm reading questions, my brain doesn't always work the way I want it to. So Katie has been a great translator here. And Alec, I'm sure it was a very well worded question, but I just was being a bit thick. So Katie says, I think he means breaking up the front camera view and adding other angles and mini videos and zooms, etc. Yeah, yeah. So I think this is important, making it a little bit more interesting. And actually, that's not very good. I've got different cameras, different zoom settings on here. And also I can split it up. So for example, if I had a little segment and I want to move on to the next one, I could do this.
You're listening to the Confident Live Marketing Podcast.
That kind of thing. So I think being able to split it up is good. I think that makes it more interesting. I don't use those that much. I use them a little bit more when I have guests. I think when I'm talking by myself, I find that a little bit more difficult to do, or it feels, I don't know, it just feels a little bit artificial to split it up that way. But I'll be interested to know what you think, Katie and Alec. Yeah, so Alex says visual change that sparks or refocuses a viewer's attention. Owen Video uses this effectively. Yeah, he does a great job. So that's your pattern interrupt. He says, I'm going to give it some thought. So there's a balance. I think we've got to be ourselves. We've got to put forwards our own personality. We've got to be, we've got to be, what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just got to be ourselves. And I think sometimes we could put too many gizmos on these things. So like too many kind of changing the cameras, putting too many visual elements on it. But there's something in that. And I maybe want to have a little think about that. I don't, and so I don't know what you do, Alec, but I don't completely plan my shows. So I have, basically what I've got is I've got a beginning, I've got my main section here, I've got some bullet points here. I could, in between each section, play one of those little videos, but it feels to me, it kind of gets in the way, but I could be wrong. Now, Katie is saying, yes, it's natural to do it with guests on a live. YouTube is different though and needs a lot. Yeah, so I think with pre-recorded video, absolutely, I think that's different. I think so. I do a lot of extra videos in there. I have music in the background. I think Owen Video is quite a different, upfront, snappy style to yours. And Owen is like he's a great guy. He's really like full on energy, which is very much him. I mean, if you meet him in real life, he is exactly like that. He's a great guy, but that's not me. And so I think you need to just be aware of what works with your personality. You do need to ramp things up. So I have this phrase called, what's it called again? Authentic. I'm having one of those days, guys. My brain is just not working. I can't remember. Heightened authenticity. That's the word. Heightened authenticity. So I'm more of a laid back kind of guy, but I'm aware that I need to kind of put a little bit more energy into my lives as well. I'm going to give it some thought. So Katie says yours is a more laid back style, but maybe it needs to be a bit more exciting. I'd love to know from you. Do you want more excitement, or are you happy with the way it is? I don't want to change my personality. I am who I am. But Alec is saying entertainment factor. And yes, adding a little bit more excitement and entertainment into it is something that I think I probably need to do a little bit more, and we need to be all aware of. What I'm trying to say is with business, there is this feeling that it shouldn't be entertaining. It should just be focused on value. And I don't agree with that. I think You do want to make it interesting. You need to put your personality forwards as well. But you do need to be yourself as well. I think that's important. So have a think about that. Well, I think that is it for this week. Or for this episode. That's all I wanted to share with you today. Just it's a short show today. But what's been really interesting today with the comments is it's just really cool to hear the other side, my audience's side, and to listen to them. You might not always agree with your audience. You may have different ideas, but ultimately, why are you live streaming? I'm live streaming today not for the good of my health. I'm live streaming because of my audience. I want to reach my audience. I want to reach new people. I want to make a difference in people's lives. I want to grow my business as well. So you have to think about your audience. They are the most important. You're not just doing this for the sake of it. I think that is really important. Katie says, I want to add main points on my show overlays to help people visually keep track of what I'm talking about. That's a really good point, and something that I want to do a little bit more. That does require a little bit more upfront planning. But definitely easy to do, and it's something that I think I've shared about 8 points today, which I've planned all ahead of time, so I could just get them all up, loaded up in advance. That would be a really cool thing to do. But thank you, Alec. Thank you for your thoughts on that. I'd love to chat to you more, actually, about how we can make our live shows a bit more entertaining without losing your personality or changing your personality. And thank you, Katie, for all your thoughts. That's been great. Well, I am back on Thursday if you're watching live with Doreen. We're talking about organic social media, which will be really fun and exciting. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, if you listen to the podcast, that will be next Friday. This comes out every Friday, as always. Well, that is it for this week. And until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live Video. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Make sure you subscribe at iag.me/podcast so you can continue to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of live video.
And until next time,
Toodaloo.